That might be an interesting topic. Class reunions.
Let's go there.
No, it was uneventful.
Just reunions in general.
All right, do you have the stream up, Kyle? Yeah, let me know if the sound's coming through. Okay. I don't know what episode this is. I mean, the last one we did was like the 90s part 2. But I don't know if that really counts as an episode or not.
Project Iron Podcast. September 1st today, yeah? Feels
so.
like fall outside.
Yeah, that it does.
It's kind of depressing. But Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and Labor Day would roll around and it'd just be kind of like a big disappointment.
Yeah.
Leaves are starting to fall off the trees.
Summer is done.
Yep.
Dunzo.
Thank God. Hate
Thank
summer.
God, huh?
I hate summer.
What for?
Yeah.
I hate the heat. I don't know. I like fall because of football, and
Yeah, fall's a great season.
fall is great.
I was laying in bed and we heard the fireworks going off at the Barefoot Bar, and that's kind of the unofficial end of summer for us. It's like
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
fireworks are going, Labor Day. It's all over.
Funny.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think we're live streaming, but
That's fine. We're
As long as it's
recording,
recording,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we can just stop the stream, in fact, and just go about our business. The internet's being shitty.
Sure.
God, you gotta get that. Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that,
Spazzing out.
Oh, there we go.
There it goes.
I had to get your net fixed. We got a bunch of grinding to do later.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm pumped. I had a nap this afternoon, and I'm ready to play WoW all night.
Till 10 o'clock. Right?
Nope. 10:30 tonight,
Oh.
boys.
Wow.
Man, we're getting crazy.
It's not a school day tomorrow.
No.
Yeah.
Party all
So-
night.
We should probably fill all our viewers in. Jimmy and I have. How do I want to say this? Partaken in the crack cocaine that is World of Warcraft again. So they just released WoW Classic, and we're back to 2004 mechanics and all that good stuff.
Excellent. My understanding is that it's included with a standard WoW subscription, so there's
it's
no
not
extra.
a separate thing.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, from when I originally quit WoW, whatever year that was, and then the subsequent times where I'd get sucked back in and play for a little bit, I'm having more fun this time around.
Yeah.
Just because the game got increasingly, I guess, less complicated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of took the heart and soul out of it with each expansion, and
More newbie friendly, would you
Yeah.
say?
pretty much.
Streamlined
Yeah.
is the word everybody uses.
I mean,
Yeah.
the focus used to be on leveling, and then the end game stuff was kind of just there, I think, maybe to keep people playing.
Sure.
And then it turned into being all about the end game, and the leveling experience was an afterthought. And I mean, you
Gotcha.
could. I don't know. What do you think now on the retail version? Could you get somebody to end game in a month or something?
Oh
or,
boy, yeah, easily from start to finish. I bet
Wow.
there's people who get there in a week.
Whereas, I mean,
Wow.
to get our new characters to end game on Classic is at the
man.
rate we're going,
Yeah, it'll-
could take a year,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
There was, you always have the group of hardcore players who want to get everything first, the fastest, every launch. And this game's been out for a week and a half now or so, close to it anyway. And they just finally had the first world max level character, which still is insane, but this would have been probably have taken 12 hours on like a regular Blizzard expansion for Warcraft. So
Wow.
Yeah, it's been fun, but a nice distraction from. Funny enough, I haven't really paid all that much attention to my usual politics and stuff the past week or so, because I've just been wowing kind of with my free time rather than watching Tim Pool videos.
yeah,
It's good to take a break, I think.
It is.
Make
Yeah,
you go
it's been a
crazy.
nice mental reprieve,
Yeah.
but
Here's how old I am. I asked my class, a room full of, it was a full class, 18 students, who in here has played WoW, and no hands went up.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's a
Oh,
little,
man.
little shocking.
That is wild.
yeah,
What
some
class
of them were.
is that?
It was just an intro to game design class.
No.
Well, I suppose some of them were maybe like toddlers when
Yeah.
the game first came out.
Oh, if they're even born. Oh, let's see. It would have been. I
Yeah,
guess
when
it
was
was
that?
15 years ago.
Yeah, so that's wild.
Yeah. Close to that. Yeah.
3. Jeez.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
It's kind of cool being the generation that saw all that stuff for the
Yeah.
first time.
Mm-hmm.
With, I think EverQuest was kind of the big kind of move to the 3D space online.
And then EverQuest 2. That was
Yep.
kind of the modern era of
Yep.
MMO.
Yep. They kind of brought it mainstream.
Speaking of MMOs, I met with a classmate last night for a while, and we were talking RuneScape. Has anyone ever played RuneScape before?
Yes.
Oh man, this guy, and I love him to death. He's like top out of like 1 billion players worldwide. He's still playing. He's like a top 1,200 or something character, and he's got his original account and original character from 2003. So it's wild, but yeah, he's interesting cat. Interesting cat.
That game had pretty rude and crude graphics. And I think
Oh, yeah.
do they still do it? Or
Yeah.
They upgraded it. didn't they?
That I think there's 2 versions
Ah.
now. You can play the old one, just like WoW Classic. You can play the old one or the upgraded version.
Gotcha.
I guess.
Very cool.
Noise. Well, what's on the docket here, boys?
Wherever you guys want to start.
Want to do let the kids vote?
This is more of just a side note. This is about, I think this is from Canada, commercial about promoting kids voting, I guess. 18 to 8, let the kids vote. So lowering the voting age to 8
Okay.
because the kids are feeling the impact of global warming.
Climate change, you're a threat. How many years do we have left?
Excuse me, do you guys have a moment to talk about climate change?
This can't be real.
So this is it. HQ, or headquarters for those who don't know. Every part of the machine is integral.
Integral.
Can't say
Okay, that
There's
makes me.
no way.
But the fact that it's got me questioning,
Yeah.
it means it's good.
This is HQ or headquarters.
This was played on a
Simpletons.
podcast that I listen to pretty religiously, called No Agenda.
No, I started listening to that too. It's
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about the comments.
Yeah, and they only have, 500 views about? Poor kids being brainwashed.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a little
Not
surprising.
many views at all.
But that line right there made me think that, yeah, it's probably a satire.
Integral.
Integral.
the world without coffee. And naps.
We polled kids across Canada and asked them to rank election issues in order of priority. 74% ranked climate change as the issue most important to them.
Climate scientists are now saying we only have 12 years left to act if we want to avoid catastrophic damage.
Downtown.
That's why we're lobbying the federal government to lower the voting age from 18 to 8. Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote! Let the kids vote!
They are the future.
Well, I don't think the lowering the voting age thing. I thought that's been seriously floated by people. I
Yeah.
don't know if all the way down to 8 was necessarily what they had
Yeah, this has got
suggested, but
some grounds in truth.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that thrown around too.
Well, so what's the policy reason behind setting the voting age at 18?
Great
Do
question.
you know the
I don't
answer
know.
to that?
Presumably, we're adults at age 18. We can fight for our country and kill for it. Mm-hmm. Might as well let us vote for or have some kind of control over what happens. You know?
Yep.
I don't know why 18.
Yeah, I don't know why 18 either. I mean, I think if I had to venture to guess, I would think that'd be kind of a hangover from, okay, well, you're done with high school
Sure.
at around 18, and that was when a lot of people were either in the workforce or,
Yep.
commonly getting married
Yep.
at that age, and so on and so forth. So
I'd be curious to see what the voting age was like, 150 years ago, or if they had one. I mean, I don't know the history behind it.
yeah, well, I think you could vote if you had land and you were
Right.
a man
Yeah, man. And white.
and white.
Yeah, but,
yep.
Was there an age?
Yeah.
You have
I
to
don't
be 18. And,
probably.
man.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe if you were like 10-year-old trust fund,
Right.
got a bunch of land,
Had a good last name.
right? Yep.
I would imagine since people didn't live that long back then, you'd want to lower the voting age a little bit so you could actually see the things you're voting for come into fruition. Maybe. I don't know.
Yep. Because I mean, to me, you could make as strong of an argument to raise the voting age based on brain science and stuff, indicating that you're not like developed till you're 25 or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, I think that's why you have a higher voting age in the first place, is
Right.
because kids don't know what the hell they're thinking or talking about.
Yeah, it's like I have kids in my classes right now that can vote in the next election, and it's like, well, they can vote now, and it's not saying that they don't have good opinions and stuff like that, but it's just, I mean, they're still kids to me. So, but on the other hand,
Well, as long as they vote for the right thing, though,
That's
that's
right.
really what matters.
Yep.
They deserve a say. If we work together.
Sorry, it's just a little pitchy, so let's try it again.
You're pitchy.
Okay, from the top.
They are the future. They deserve a say. And if we work together, we can lower the voting age.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It says it all right there.
Oh, this is great. Well, yeah, I mean, full disclosure, I guess you tweeted this at us earlier this week, and I saw it, and it was hard. It was hard for me to tell whether or not
Yep.
this was satire. I think they're doing a pretty good job of walking that razor's edge.
Right. It was presented in the podcast as not being satire.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they got any feedback on that.
Right. Is there anything more
That's pretty much just a
funny
song.
on this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that's it. That's really well produced for only having like 500 views.
right.
Surprises me. I wonder
My
if
suggestion, recommendation.
algorithm.
Oh God.
Oh God, we clicked on an ad.
So what's this one?
Oh, if we're just going scattershot here, it's just it's a city council meeting in Michigan, and it kind of speaks for itself, but just let it play.
Okay.
Stuns.
My suggestion, recommendation, keep Marysville a white community as much as
With the
possible.
lady in red.
White, seriously. In other words, no foreign-born, no foreign people because of
She's super
what,
triggered.
how can I say, in our past, what we have experienced, is better to have it simply American-born, put it that way.
My son-in-law is a black man, and I have biracial grandchildren. And I take this very, very personally, what you've said, and I know that there's nothing I can say that's going to change your mind. But we all have the same, that we just need to have more kindness. That's it.
Just checking the calendar here and making sure it's
Who are you talking about?
The lady who wants to make, Marysville entirely white.
Keep it white.
The
Yeah.
green shirt lady.
Yep.
Oh, was that her that was talking?
She made the initial comments about keeping it white.
I thought this lady was the one that said, I want like American-born people,
Oh.
whatever the hell that means. And then red shirt lady
is taking offense and getting
I thought it
triggered.
was somebody from like the audience. It was like
No.
a forum or something. Oh, so she's on the city council.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Just to keep it white.
Well, to her defense, I mean, she's what, 90?
Right.
Still 2019. Yeah, I thought we covered civil rights about 50 years ago. I know, I mean, we're one nation under God, and I live that. You know, if I ever had any notion of veering away from that, I can take my broker's license and burn it.
Everybody's welcome to Marysville. I don't care if you're purple, whatever. I mean, we're here. We have a community. You're welcome to our community, and you know, so be it.
So what exactly prompted that?
Yeah.
Well, then the second video is kind of an interview with her, that old lady who made the comment. Just kind of some follow-up on it.
Well, the thing, she's voted in.
Right.
At the city council, she's got people voting for her.
Well, there's controversy tonight in a local community's city council race. One of the candidates in Marysville is being very open about her views on race. Priya Mann reports on what Jean Kramer said and how the community is reacting.
Marysville is a picturesque place not far from Port Huron with a population of about 10,000 people. For the most part, it's a welcoming city, unless...
Welcomes the Freemasons.
If people are coming here to get away from their own country, what they should do is, or need to do, is go back to their own country and straighten it out.
Meet Jean Kramer,
So is her position that she's more anti-immigration or something than...
That, and she doesn't like race mixing. Blacks marrying whites. She's not a fan of that either.
8-year-old Marysville woman is running for spot
She got
on city
shirts.
council.
We've been living here long enough to know that we like the white people.
During a forum Thursday night, this is how she answered a question about diversity.
Keep Marysville a white community as much as possible. No foreign people.
Every other candidate strongly disagreed, and on Friday, Kramer wanted to clarify.
What was that maneuver coming out of the door? I gotta see that again. That was
like a
hilarious.
Euro step.
Yeah. It's like, let me open the door as little as I possibly can.
Could be the government.
Disagreed, and on Friday, Kramer wanted to clarify.
Mixed marriage?
Don't want you to see my Confederate
That's
flag.
what's wrong.
Mixed marriage is wrong.
Me, no. I have no problem with black people and nothing like that, no.
You just don't want interracial marriages or have them moving into Marysville?
Because it's wrong, it's immoral.
Her
Jeez. It's immoral.
Wow.
Wonder on what justification does she say it's immoral?
Probably in how the Bible says it.
Yeah. I wondered if it was some religious angle or...
Almost certainly.
opinions spread quickly around town.
It's
At your local Walmart.
Yeah. Oh my God! Interviewed Boss Nass from Star Wars here.
it's racist.
To each their own, but I guess that's going to start some trouble. I try to go and steer clear of people like that, honestly. I don't like to confront people who don't like to deal with my race or anything like that. I just go on with my life, honestly.
Joe Hill, out shopping with his niece Skylar, says he doesn't believe Kramer's comments reflect the views of most people in Marysville.
One that don't seem like they want to win.
I think that the left probably thinks that that is how most conservatives are, probably. No race mixing. Keep the blacks out.
Yeah, I would hope not, but yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Wild.
So that's kind of my view of how racism is alive in America, but it's one old lady on some committee in some town in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not a bad metaphor for, and then the whatever ways it is manifesting itself then to get turned into a giant news story.
Right.
Everybody has to talk about it a lot, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, I don't know. To her, I'm not defending.
He's gonna defend her.
No,
Oh,
I'm not.
unbelievable.
But like, you remember like Grandma and Grandpa, and I'm sure.
Of course.
You know, they're not racist. It's just the way things were back in the day, the language that was used, and this lady maybe takes it to a different level because she wants to legislate against it.
Keep them out.
Yeah, but I don't know. No, I don't think that's, like you said, racism in America. This is probably as far as it gets. There's not clan groups organizing to paint doors and stuff. But.
Well, or at least not in to any extent that is dangerous enough that people need to pay any attention to it. I mean, you can, I think, let weirdos out in the woods die on the vine, kind of, you know.
With their tiki torches.
Yeah.
Right. So.
How'd the Straight Pride March go this weekend? Anyone?
It was amazing.
Was it? I didn't follow that much, but
I know Ilhan Omar was freaking out about it, but to me, like, it wasn't as much as a pro-straight pride parade as it was just kind of a pushback on everything else coming from the other side.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any of them are proud of being straight.
Yeah.
But it's just a demonstration of opposition.
Just some fatigue with being inundated with identity politics from the alphabet community. Huh.
Yep.
Interesting. What's next on the list here?
Well, the last one's kind of my, I don't know, finale as far as the stuff I had, which is somebody that we've never actually talked about on the show, and I think we'll probably be able to camp out on this one for a little while.
The alphabet, this is is this what you're going at? The
Jessica Yaniv.
Yeah.
I see you tweet at her or him. Or it's...
Oh gosh. We're rearing back for what?
He's gonna beat us with a cane.
Oh, a cane. Okay.
She's got a cane.
Well, so what's some background on?
Jessica
Yaniv?
Well, what do you guys know about her?
I see him on Twitter, and I think he's just a troll. But is he like? I don't know. It's hard for me to put myself in his shoes and look in the mirror and be like, is this serious? You know,
right?
Because he's obviously ridiculous.
So
what I've heard about this person is that this is the individual who wants to go around to like hair salons, nail salons, or whatever, and demand that some like 80-pound lady waxes his pubes and stuff. Because he's a woman on the inside, and
oh my god!
And then when people don't want to, he starts suing
them, putting them out of business. People have gone out of business because of this person.
Oh, I mean, to me, it's worse than trolling. This guy is like a pro activist who is
he's actually affecting people's lives.
Right.
Like people's livelihoods are affected by this person. So he has male parts, and because he's identifying as female, wanting to force these aestheticians or whatever you call them to wax his male parts. And he just kind of goes down the road and tries to find somebody who'll do it, and nobody will do it, so he sues them. And in Canada, you can do this kind of stuff. You have to basically service, so to speak, these kinds of folks, and they're not doing it. It takes it even here we're always talking about wedding cakes, and should I have to bake a wedding cake for a homosexual couple even though my religion doesn't agree with it? Well, this is kind of a far cry from that. This is like, I'm assuming these waxers aren't trained to deal with male situations, but they're having to anyway. He's also got some kind of shady background as far as like messing with kids. So he's been promoting an event, a pool party, if you will, where little girls who identify as little boys are going to come and basically be shirtless. He's
oh my god,
he's being an activist for that. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like he should be locked up, but
he wants to be girls so bad he can castrate.
And anyway,
that's what I think.
He's going to be caning us in this video.
Assault a rebel reporter with a cane? Okay.
That might actually be his mom. I'm not positive, but I don't know. The first couple minutes of this video kind of summarizes what the whole backstory is with this guy.
You're not going to go close to her. Get out. Get away. Don't you? Get away. You better not. You better not. No. You make contact. You're going to go to jail. You're going to jail. Go away. I know. Hey, don't touch me.
Well, it doesn't appear that this person is doing much in the hormone department. It just looks like kind of a
I mean, I could
fat brony or something and
grow my hair
clothes.
out,
Yeah.
diet blonde, and gain 80 pounds, and then I could call myself Yaniv or whatever.
Right.
You're going to jail.
He's making
Jonathan, why do you send sexually explicit messages to young girls? Hey, go away. You're going to jail. Go away. Huh? My iPad. Why don't you? Now. Huh?
Jeez.
It's like Blair Witch style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious. Well, did this take place in Canada then?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder what their laws are like on self-defense. I mean, I would think at that point when somebody's swinging a cane at you.
Unless it's a minority.
Yeah.
Yeah. This video almost makes me feel bad for he, she, Zier, because it seems like this reporter's like kind of
instigating,
getting in his face, kind of harassing.
I'm sure most people by now.
Feel bad for him.
Yeah, ultimately not, but
pool party.
Kind of reminds me of Mama June a little bit
Mama
from
June.
the Sketty video.
Yeah.
I'm making Sketty.
Are familiar with that professional fake victim, Jonathan, a.k.a. Jessica Yaniv.
What a transition.
Long hair and makeup, I would say.
Yeah.
He's the dude who has filed more than a dozen complaints with the BC Human Rights Tribunal. He has gone after women who offer waxing services to other females, demanding that he be treated as a woman, even though he's still equipped with male genitalia. His case is that he's being discriminated.
Motorized cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he on a hover-around thing?
I guess.
Oh my God!
Against. He is the victim.
I'm almost like more bothered by that than I am the
Yeah.
tranny wax my dick stuff. Like it drives me crazy when able-bodied people
ride the scooter.
ride the scooters around.
See? And he wants to be financially compensated by taxpayers
Reminds
for
me of
his
Cartman.
victimhood.
Wasn't that South Park episode where he's like identified as a woman or something, and
he does it to get special treatment.
Yeah,
get his own bathroom.
Yeah, he wanted to use his own bathroom.
Good idea.
Yeah, it reminds me of Justin Cartman.
Yeah, it's almost like if you're not exceptional in any way whatsoever, and then you can like manufacture some reason to be a special person and make everybody pay attention to you, and not on any kind of accomplishment or unique characteristic or anything, but by something you invent yourself.
Speaking of which, Jonathan also
Oh no.
likes getting around town on publicly funded transit rides for the disabled. Sometimes he's even buzzing.
Ugh, gross.
Look at that.
A moo-moo.
Wow.
Oh, you're killing me with this, Vin.
About in a mobility scooter, even though he's being caught on video running like someone taking part in the 100-meter dash. What's the deal with that? So I visited Vancouver recently to try and get some answers. I should point out that Yaniv is now very much a public person, most recently taking to social media.
Look at that.
Okay, my period started, so couldn't go into the pool, but it was so much fun. Forgot my tampons in my other bag.
What?
F my L.
What?
Many questions, I guess.
Speechless.
Yeah.
Hey, all women menstruate.
To bemoan the fact that he couldn't go swimming the other day because he was on his period. No, seriously, he actually said that. In any event, we feel that our questions to him are very much in the public interest. We're not harassing him any more than journalists asking
Maybe.
Maybe not.
The Rebel Media, just so people know, is who Gavin McGinnis used to work for,
there you go.
and Lauren Southern and a few others. They're kind of a ultra conservative Canadian outfit.
Yeah, and they're pretty in your face about it too, aren't they?
Yep,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Well, your South Park comment was pretty apt, I think, Kyle. Because I mean, it's almost like, how could you manufacture somebody who is taking it to the nth degree? It's almost like a parody of what some sort of transgender activist person would be like.
Exactly, and it makes me wonder if it is trolling.
Yeah,
you know, but I don't think so.
I don't know, that comment about the pool and the can't go in and that kind of, I don't know. I'm leaning more towards troll.
Really?
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards troll because he's making money.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, getting attention.
Well, I wonder if he's getting paid on some of these lawsuits for suing people for not. You know.
He got arrested not too long ago. Do you guys know who Blair White is?
Yeah, she's the conservative transgender person, right? Yeah.
And pull up a picture of her.
Blair White?
Yeah,
yeah.
See what Kyle thinks of this one. So compare this transgendered person to the one we've just been discussing.
I'm not in the business of comparing people.
Oh, you're going to do some comparing.
Holy cow. Who's this?
This is Blair White, yeah.
And so the conservative trans person.
Oh, so this was a dude?
I think so.
Holy cow. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and she interviewed Jessica Yaniv not too long ago. And that was the reason why she got arrested, is because she
I just like that still frame back and forth.
She whipped out a taser on camera, which I guess are illegal in Canada, and the cops came and searched her home and found a bunch of contraband.
Oh, jeez.
Arrested her for a little while.
Well, that's one, like, if you, that Blair chick or dude or whatever, that's something like, at least you're trying.
Right.
You know, and at least I can kind of respect that almost, that
you've had surgery.
You've had surgery.
Hormones.
Yeah, and
blah,
this,
blah, blah.
and you're not just, I mean, if you're looking for attention, you're looking for attention because you're trying to be attractive. But this, on the other hand, is just a manifestation of
how can I reap the benefits yet have no skin in the game?
Yeah,
literally,
so to speak. I usually watch this stuff while I'm working out at the gym. Interestingly, so that interview is one thing I watched there. So Blair White, she kept saying, like, if you're really a trans person, you're going to be ashamed and embarrassed to talk about things like waxing and all that stuff because it's not something you want to talk about. And that's all this person talks about. And to your point, I don't doubt that trans people exist, like being born in the wrong body and just having your brain chemistry being messed up somehow. And I'm sure it happens. And I can respect that if you're serious about it and correcting it, but it seems like it's obviously kind of more of a fad these days.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no issue with what people do in their own bodies, but don't make me cater to you.
Or pay for it.
I
heard there was a case where there was somebody in prison who's going through the transition.
Oh, God.
And the taxpayers are footing the bill for it.
Yeah.
Wow. How is that not some sort of elective surgery or elective...
well, they were born that way.
Yeah. I don't know.
Clearly.
I guess.
Oh, man. Politicians' questions are engaging in any kind of harassment. In the video you're about to watch, please note that I never entered into his condominium lobby, but rather remained outside in the common area.
Too many hormones.
It's pretty grouchy.
You will also see Jonathan swearing and threatening me, and ultimately physically assaulting me, merely for practicing journalism. But don't take my word for it. Check out the video evidence.
And We kind of hit the highlights. We don't have
Okay.
to watch the whole thing. But you saw the caning.
Oh, yeah.
State cane.
I saw it all right. Good grief.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me uncomfortable.
I know.
kinda.
Indeed.
These people are out there.
Yeah. Oofda.
Yeah, that really bothers me about the pool party thing.
Yep.
That's like, ugh.
Well, is that confirmed, or is that an allegation, or?
It's confirmed that she was trying to organize this thing. I
Hmm.
don't know if it actually happened or not, but
Okay.
she actually, I think she posted a link to the Facebook group or something, and it got removed. But it does kind of beg the question that you have a kid who's born female, but they identify as male. Should they be allowed to remove their shirt and participate in a pool party with people who are half naked?
No.
I would say no, but I would be curious as to what the trans community has to say about it. And it's interesting too that the trans community doesn't really accept Jessica Yaniv as one of their own.
Oh, really?
It's going a little too far for them,
Huh.
based on my reading of it.
Well, I think that's a good thing.
I do too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm actually really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's. I guess I don't want to paint everybody with too broad of a brush necessarily, even though I am. But, it seems to me that there's a tendency on kind of left woke politics to just, no.
Yeah, there's
no length is too far,
Right.
sort of.
Yep.
It's a kind of race to the bottom with craziness. I mean, I've even heard of woke people defending pedophilia and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
It's a
I think we
it's
talked about it.
Yeah, I think we did talk about that a little
Yep.
bit. So it's it's just a sexual preference.
Right.
How's it any different than being gay or lesbian or something? So
Some kids underage are mature enough to. Yeah. Don't quote me on that one. This reminds me of something that. Do you guys know who Jordan Peterson is?
Oh, yeah.
The Canadian psychologist. Won't use gender pronouns, whatever. He said, and I agree with this, and it's interesting in that if the right goes too far, we kind of know what that looks like. It looks like Nazism and fascism and ends in things like the Holocaust. But the left hasn't really ever gone too far to result in something like that. So we're still kind of seeing what that looks like, and we don't really know yet.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what would it look like though? Because the left is anti-gun,
Right.
anti-war.
I have an idea of what it might look like. San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Or Seattle.
Yeah.
These days.
Where homeless can camp on the front of your business, or is that
Yeah.
in Texas? Maybe that's in Austin.
That too, but I know that's happening in San Francisco. Dirty needles and poop everywhere.
Do you want to do a quick experiment on that?
Yeah.
Let's go to the street view of San Francisco and just see if we can find a bum on some random street.
Far cry from Emmett County.
Yep.
Oh, God.
I'm going west.
Keep going left.
No.
It's the left coast.
Okay. I happen to know that the Tenderloin is a sketchy part of town.
Sure enough.
And it's approximately here. So let's just see. Let's go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Whoop.
I think it's.
You have to go like this and then go street view.
If you drag that little person in the bottom right corner,
Uh-huh.
yep, just drag him on the road. Will that do it?
Ah, you're so smart, Kevin.
That's how I've always done it. Any bums around?
Maybe
Maybe.
not.
Hard to tell.
Let's see how long it takes us to find a bum. Yep,
There we
go.
I see lots of bars on doors and windows.
Yeah. Oh, is this like a synagogue or something? With a
Sing Sing Sandwich Shop. Oh, yeah.
Star of David
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Let's go up the street a little bit. Bums. Look how dirty the
Oh,
sidewalks
man.
are. Oofda.
This is really fun to do in VR, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just kind of walk around in Street View.
I bet. Yeah.
Well,
maybe they're doing a better job than I thought.
This is kind of Silicon Valley, isn't it? So maybe they're trying to,
Yeah.
with a pretty brush.
Yeah. Could be. I don't know.
Google removed all the bums.
Well, I don't know. It's I've seen statistics about San Francisco where they said like 8 to 10,000 homeless people at any given time, and then I don't know how do you even do a survey on that?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, where are they exactly? And I mean, I can speak from my own personal experience, having visited there like last year. Saw quite a few.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, I was kind of semi-concerned about it because Laura had never been to San Francisco before. I don't know really what her background is like with dealing with homeless people and that sort of thing.
Is she pretty streetwise?
I would say no.
Too kind.
Yeah, I mean, probably a little naive along that.
Sure. Well, I think most of us in Northwest Iowa probably are.
Yeah.
Yep. It's hard to ignore somebody.
Yeah, one of the things we're kind of famous for is wanting to help people.
Yeah.
Just being nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, darn it, we couldn't find any bums sleeping on the sidewalk or anything. Well,
Or
good
syringes.
job, San Francisco.
Yeah, excellent.
Maybe it's all fake news.
Yeah.
Okay.
The big problem with a lot of that stuff I hear is that the cops just won't enforce
anything,
and that's because they're told not to.
They have no vagrancy rules or anything like that.
Yeah. Homelessness isn't a crime. And now what are they called now? The without shelter or people without home or something.
Here
like
we go.
You found one?
Got one.
Nice.
Garbage bags and stuff.
We found a bum.
The unhoused. Is what
The
they call them.
unhoused,
You can't call them
yeah.
bums. They're unhoused.
What the hell is this guy?
I don't know.
I got
Flipping us
screwed
off.
up here. Yeah. There he is. See him sitting over there?
Nice. Yeah, the only bums you'll find in Nestorville are the ones outside the Top Hat after Friday night or Saturday night.
Oh, man. Did you have another video for us, Vin?
No, that last one's just
YouTube
nothing.
guidelines.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's-
Maybe we could do the.
Yeah, let's hit whatever you have.
So the first thing I thought of is the soy boy face. I'm sure you guys have seen different people
Yes.
pose for pictures like this
yeah.
with their kind of wide open,
Their gaping holes open.
gaping hole, surprised face, smile thing. I don't know.
The sewer underneath their nose,
Mhm.
as Margaret Gray calls it.
You caught me with such surprise for the 900th picture.
But yeah, right. As I thought about it a little bit, though, I was like, yeah, some of the people that I know that are in the soy department, I've definitely seen pose like this at various points. Won't put anybody on blast here specifically, but
I'm so glad it has a name.
yeah.
I love the illustration on the right too.
Yeah, this over here.
Dirty beard and
Mhm.
plugs in the ears.
Yeah, there's quite a few beards in the group too. Yeah, I remember when the beard used to be like a symbol of masculinity.
Yes. Yeah.
Now it's just kind of been cheapened into Betaville for sure. Yeah, it's like cooler to shave now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be hard for me to get rid of my goatee, but
Yeah,
may just have to. Yep.
Indeed.
Might grow out the horseshoe.
There you go.
Just turn into a wizard.
You can't. You're a priest, level 12.
Turn into your WoW character.
Okay. Well, I'm done soying. So this.
Speaking of soy boys.
Yeah. Right. Ew, I love this face.
Yeah.
Double chin and hands out. So he's bloviating about the Electoral College here.
Can I just say, I'm getting pissed off at people who are wearing thick frame glasses. It used to be a point of pride for the technical community.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now just anybody can slap on a pair of those bad boys and say, I'm such a nerd.
Well, yeah, and you don't even need prescription.
Right, yeah. Who knows what's in those things?
That's another word that's been really cheapened.
Nerd?
Nerd,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's sort of like cool to be nerdy.
Right.
At least or another thing I've noticed is if you're like a big fan of something, then you're a nerd. It's like, no.
You're just
that
a
doesn't
fanboy.
count.
Just a fan,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
just a fan.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like a huge Stranger Things nerd. I love Rick and Morty. I'm such a nerd.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Rick and Morty.
Ugh, cringe.
Indeed.
So, what is it? Sweet Szechuan sauce or something? That whole thing? That was their Rick and Morty fans were like rating McDonald's for Szechuan sauce. God.
Good
No
for them.
surprises there.
Anyway, my whole thing is you need to take at least one programming course before you can don the thick frames.
Yep. Does it matter what language or?
Not really.
Okay.
No.
Good. Maybe with my C plus.
Yeah, I
stuff
took
in
one
high
too.
Yeah,
school,
you guys are fine.
That'd be fine. Okay.
Pass
good.
the test. So
Excellent.
feel free.
It's a low floor, but we can meet it.
At least it's something.
Indeed. Well, so
Anyway.
anyways, Chris Hayes here, that's who this
Yeah.
person is going on and on about the Electoral College, and pretty much the crux of his position is that it's well, I'll just play the video for you.
Since 1992, we have had 7 presidential elections. Republicans have won the popular vote 1 time. But they've gotten 3 presidents out of it.
Oh, like, whoa.
Which is a-
Like, whoa. You're crazy. That's crazy.
But isn't that bad, though? We should have had, let's see, Al Gore. This one, Bush won popular, and then we should have had Hillary.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody knows what the Electoral College is, I assume.
Yeah, I would hope so.
And what it's in place to prevent from happening, which is people on the coasts electing the president.
And we're still just flyovers.
Yeah. And then we get no representation at all.
Yep.
And it would, if it was abolished, it would. See, I heard it explained really nicely on the No Agenda podcast, but basically it would prevent politicians from spending any time in our states because we are so small and would have little say in the final outcome.
Well, the Dakotas would just be a territory. I mean, or it'd almost be turn the Dakotas into like a national park or something, a wildlife reserve. And,
sure.
But they have as many senators as California, or as many. As many senators. I guess everybody's got 2. So
Yep.
Much representation as California. That's the way it should be.
Well, in the Senate, they do, right?
Yeah.
But California in the House of Representatives
They have
has a
more
lot
votes,
more.
yeah. Right.
They've
They
got
have a lot
more
more votes.
representatives. You've got your people in seats in the House of Representatives based off population. So, I mean, and that's the whole point of why this is so kind of disingenuous and stuff, is because they're yapping about the president as if the popular vote should matter supremely.
Right.
And, the system is, to prevent high population states from being able to run roughshod over low population ones, with the idea that interests are going to be different between but the executive branch is only one part of it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's so annoying and if it's that big a deal, then clearly the office of president has become way too powerful.
Indeed.
So
and I get it. It sounds nice, one person, one vote, that's who elects a president. But another thing the Electoral College does is it prevents the tyranny of the majority. In other words, if the majority of the country, one person, one vote, wants to reinstate slavery, then it happens. With the Electoral College, there's sort of this additional buffer between the people and the government, which helps prevent those sorts of things from taking place. I would think good liberals like Mr. Hayes here would want that and appreciate those checks being in place.
Yeah, I mean, what if there's just this massive uprising of conservatives on the coasts? I don't know what that would take, but and then now it's a popular vote swinging right, and then
Well, then they'd be singing a different tune, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Very sweet deal if you're the Republican Party, right? You can see why, on just basic tactical grounds, why the Republican Party would want to continue a system in which they can lose a majority of votes and still get all the powers of the presidency, appointing the Supreme Court justices and judges and signing legislation, vetoing legislation, commanding the army, everything, right?
Maybe make better legislation.
There you go. Don't promote the Green New Deal, which has as much to do with racism as it does, saving the planet.
Yeah, the planet thing was a afterthought, I think.
Right.
All the other stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever take time to read through all of that?
Not all of it, but I understand that there are things in there about identity politics and.
I went through quite a bit of it actually. And
kudos to you.
Yeah, it was a chore, that's for sure.
All of that with less votes than the Democrat got. No wonder they like it. But I think there's actually a deeper philosophical thing happening.
Trump's elected again. I'm watching MSNBC all night on
I need to get like 2 more
night.
TVs.
Yeah.
Watch them all at the same time.
We should maybe do a podcast.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be
live.
great.
Watch
live
it live,
feed,
yeah.
That'd be so fun.
Which is the question of what exactly American democracy is for. And the weirdest thing about the Electoral College is the fact that if it wasn't specifically in the Constitution for the presidency, it would be unconstitutional.
I wave my hand so I'm passionate.
Yeah.
I paused it here just because it's such a bad comment that it's maybe even hard to recognize it.
I think I missed it.
He says, if the Electoral College was not specifically in the Constitution, it would be unconstitutional. That's basically verbatim.
If A was not B, it would not be B.
Exactly.
You don't say.
Yeah. I mean,
this word unconstitutional is just, it's used like, I don't know. It's just.
I'm at a loss for words, but it's.
Oh no.
I mean,
if you don't like something, it's unconstitutional.
I think of yeah. I mean, the Constitution to me is sort of the rule book, or like the framework for which the rule book can exist. Sort of, if you maybe want to think about it that way. And I mean, it's like, well, if tackling wasn't in the rules for football, then
it'd be unconstitutional.
It wouldn't be in the rules.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it is in the rules. So you can do it.
So it is constitutional.
Good call on that one.
In the context of football.
He's saying literally nothing.
And then, with gestures.
Yeah, of course. That's what I was focused on. That's why I missed it. I was focused on his hand gestures.
Yeah, he's like he's giving us a lecture here.
Yeah.
Here's what I mean by that.
It's like, by the way, how Glenn Beck used to use a chalkboard.
Oh, yeah.
To make himself seem smart.
Yeah.
Like he was a professor of conservative politics.
The Blaze.
Yeah. But.
Yeah, I don't know.
Theatrics.
I used to listen to Glenn when he was just on the radio when I was like 21.
When he would go ape on people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It was great. And then,
Yeah.
I don't know, when he was like dressed up as a founding father, like crying on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial or something, that's when I kind of was done with Glenn.
Yeah,
he's just like, yeah.
He's mellowed out. His show's pretty funny now that he's mellowed out a little bit.
Okay.
But
Wonder
not
if he's
my
like
first choice.
taking uppers and downers or
Maybe.
something. Or,
Probably. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Just like any other talk show.
He's like a manic depressive or something.
Right.
During the 1960s, 1961 particularly, the Supreme Court started developing a jurisprudence of one person, one vote, right? The idea is that each individual vote has to carry roughly the same amount of weight as each other individual vote, which is a pretty intuitive concept, but it was not a reality. There are all sorts of crazy representational systems that were created that would not give one person one vote and would disenfranchise certain minorities. You can guess which ones.
So I think what he's driving at here is that the Electoral College is sort of a gerrymandering system or something almost, where because you're familiar with the ideas of gerrymandering, where they'll divide district lines, whoever's in charge, to maximize their chance of getting their preferred representative, with the least amount of votes and minimize the efficacy of everybody else.
I'm curious where he's going to go with this, because it seems like he just pointed out the point that we just made about the tyranny of the majority, saying we all, one person, one vote. We don't want black people to vote, so we're going to vote that in, and no more black people voting.
Yeah.
So where is he going with this?
Here's an example. Let's say you got a city, it's 60% black and it's 40% white, okay? Here's how you ensure white people stay in charge. Divide the city into 4 voting districts, right? But you put the entire black population in one district. 60% of the people.
Smooth animation there.
Nice.
And then each district elects one city council member.
Yeah, that's the gerrymandering technique called the packing. So yeah, you make one district huge, and you say, okay, we're going to lose the vote to the blacks or whatever, because we know how they're going to vote, and then we, divvy it up, and now we'll get 3 votes with an actually minority population.
And voila! Now the city council for a majority black city is run by a majority white government. This kind of thing they did all over the South.
Because all whites are Republicans.
Yep.
Yeah. What a racist statement.
And all whites
he's making.
All whites live next to each other.
Yeah. And all black people are
They're in the
Democrats.
ghetto, yep. They all live together in the projects.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody ever talks about minority success ever. You
Yeah.
ever notice that? I mean, that's a huge aside, but think about how many people are in the middle class now that weren't 25, 40, 50 years ago.
Trump
cetera.
always mentions it. Lowest African-American unemployment in history or whatever. And the Jewish population in America, if you think they're a race, which it's a race and a religion, but they're doing exceedingly well.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the most oppressed people, arguably, in history.
Well, what about the Asians, too?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the Asians are flies in the face of by simply virtue of the whole argument of just by being in a minority demographic, then you're automatically subjugated to a bunch of white oppression.
Not mentioned.
Nope. Conspicuously, I would.
And they don't care because they're doing well, by and large.
Over the country, all right? And finally, the Supreme Court says, no, you can't do that. You cannot just come up with crazy systems of representation to essentially stymie the basic principle of majority rule. And over the course of decades, they strike down representation system after representation system because it doesn't meet the standard they have articulated. Even this city, New York City's longstanding system of government, got struck down in 1989 because we had this borough president system where like 2 million people in the Bronx and 500,000 people in Staten Island each had a borough president. Court's like, can't do it. So, the basic principle, one person, one vote, the candidate with the most votes wins, those are the basic principles that are applied everywhere in the United States, every single election, from dog catcher to state senator to governor, up to 2 institutions, the 2 most powerful. United States Senate, right? And this might be for another show, but you may have noticed the same number of senators represent the 40 million people of California and the 500,000 people of Wyoming. Not really one person, one vote-e. And then, of course, the other institution, the presidency. Now, take a step back for a second and just ponder how preposterous it is that for the most powerful office...
Yeah, that one person, one vote thing, that would work locally because you don't have Minnesotans voting for an Iowa governor. And, I don't know where he's just talking. Where's he going with this?
What's the first comment on this video? What's the top comment?
This video explains why most people think my vote doesn't matter.
Awesome idea. Love it. I like to get a feel for the types of comments.
Response?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what
What's
people-
a like to dislike ratio?
Mm.
So clearly this is viewed by the MSNBC audience.
Mm-hmm.
I will vote just in the off chance it might help upset the Republican efforts to gerrymander the election. Well, here's the thing about gerrymandering. Democrats have done it too.
Of course, everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. And it's because I pledge allegiance to the party.
Right.
And that's a problem that we have in this country regardless of everything else. So
It's my understanding that the Electoral College doesn't have to vote for the person that they're
Yeah, that's true.
people say.
I think they're
Is that right?
encouraged to, but it's I
wonder if it has ever happened that they
don't think so.
don't. I would doubt it too.
Yeah.
That would be a case where I think they would probably vote differently if the population said enact slavery again,
Right.
do something preposterous. That would be the check that would be in place to keep stuff like that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Or voting in a candidate who supported, promoting slavery.
Yeah, repeal the 13th Amendment.
Right.
That's the case, right? Like, if you run for class president in the 4th grade, you are elected if and only if you get the most votes.
Yeah, from your 4th grade.
Right. One grade.
Not from the 8th grade. The 8th graders aren't going to...
Or the 4th grade school down the road, the private school, they're not going to be voting for you.
Yeah.
Every election.
It's so simple. Yeah. It's so simple.
If you run for sheriff or mayor or governor or senator, you win if you get the most votes. That's it. That's the principle. There's one exception, President of the United States. Now, there are all kinds of people who will tell you this is good for all sorts of reasons, and they are all wrong. A few things to note. One, the idea that historically this had anything to do with like the representation of the rural areas against the urban elites is bunk. America was, as you might recall, pretty darn rural at the time of the Constitution's drafting, right? The real genesis of the Electoral College was the belief shared by a lot of the founders that ordinary people were dumb and couldn't be trusted to elect a president. So instead, people would elect electors.
Well, even if that is true, like if that was the genesis for it, that they thought the population was dumb and shouldn't be charged with voting, if the way it's being used is to keep high density population states from running roughshod over low population ones, then why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, what's the problem?
Then the founders are...
That's just a happy accident, I would say.
Future tellers and can see into the future and the problems that this was going to solve.
Who would in turn convene and pick like a wise man. Alexander Hamilton, among others, did not want normal people choosing the president. He was very clear about this. They wanted a, quote, small number of persons to do it. But the whole idea of the Electoral College as some kind of deliberative body where they would meet, they'd come up with this wise person, it collapsed very quickly. We've never even really had that system. It has been outdated since basically the 3rd election the country had. And the other thing you hear all the time, and this is what Dan Crenshaw says, is that what
I wonder how many they showed the graphic of the last however many presidents, and then it should have been the past 20 years of Democrats minus George W. Bush and the middle of the Iraq War.
Yeah, I was just gonna look up the percentage.
But yeah, like of all the presidential elections, I wonder how many times that it has been where the person won popular and you also got the presidency.
Well, I think one way that we can gauge this, if it's the right thing to do or not, would be if it's a rough split down the middle. If roughly half of the presidents have been one side and half have been the other side. If it's roughly half and half, then I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
If not, then we've got some splitting to do. But I can't find any kind of stats. But I would guess it's roughly half and half.
Yeah.
It kind of goes along with like this need for left and right politics to both be in the ring at the same time, both pushing back and fighting with each other, so that one side doesn't win by default. Like there needs to be some constant push and pull on both sides to keep everything in balance. And I think this Electoral College is kind of an example of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the whole idea, well, the way our court system works, it's adversarial. The idea is that you hope you can settle on the truth or the right answer or the closest thing to it by people zealously advocating for their own position. And then, you go too far and you stretch your argument to the maximum, I guess, and usually to the point where people think, okay, yeah, that's too much. Yeah. And then you settle somewhere in between. Same thing is true in politics.
Exactly.
What they do is they look at this map. Trump says this too. They look at how this map is, and they say to you, how else can we get presidents to listen to these vast swaths of the country. Right? You see this map?
Right.
You've seen this map before? This is a map that Donald Trump loves.
Wonder why.
Yeah.
I love that.
Look
map
at all
there.
that red.
Yeah. Oh, these parts of California. This is the rural parts. I
Right,
guess,
right.
huh?
When he was winning all of the basically middle states from Minnesota down to Louisiana, the Young Turks were saying, "Oh my God, he built a wall." It was pretty funny to see all those states turn red, like the whole country was divided.
The young.
It is, in fact, a map that is up in the White House. No, seriously, it's like the first thing they put up. Okay? But here's the thing. This is a map of land, not of human beings.
Who do you think lives in that land?
Yeah,
Like-
so that's kind of offensive to me. It's like we don't count as your people because we live in the red part
But
of
I
the.
thought it was one person, one vote.
Yeah.
Chris Hayes. Maybe if you'd step down from your ivory tower.
Yeah.
Take off your thick glasses.
Take off your. Yeah,
I'm
probably.
assuming he's talking about population densities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Because, yeah, it's not like there's just one person living in each little county.
Right. So he's saying if it was one person, one vote, that this map would imply that Hillary would have won because the population is so dense in those blue zones. That's just, from just looking at this, it's hard to believe, but maybe it's true.
Well, I suppose. I mean,
New York.
Well,
there's like 25, 30 million people just
Right.
in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah. Right. And this map should be evidence for the success of the Electoral College, I would assume. I mean, or evidence that it's working, I guess.
Here's the thing about the system of the Electoral College that I don't think is being addressed here. You could have everybody from the Los Angeles area and the Bay Area or something magically move to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Or to Sioux Falls, South Dakota or something like that. And then what happens, right?
Yep.
Do you still so if the densely populated city centers across the country were not voting Democrat, then this argument wouldn't happen. I don't think. I mean, to me, this is very thinly veiled. It's just we can't win under the
Current rules.
current rules,
Change
so we need to
rules.
change them so we
Right.
can win. That's all this says to me.
How about you change your party for crying out loud? Make it a little more relatable.
Yeah.
If the Democratic Party right now is where it was when I voted for Barack Obama in the first time he ran, I would still be voting for the Democratic Party. But it's so far not that anymore.
I think Obama would probably be a Nazi fascist or something now, probably, right?
Well, yeah, he was anti-LGBT.
We always bring it up. He said, "I believe marriage is between a man and a woman" when he was running.
Yeah, and he was, I think, for strong borders too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely be a Nazi fascist
Yep.
today. A fashion Nazi.
And it is true, here's the weirdest part. It is true that in the United States Constitution, thanks to the Senate and the Electoral College, land gets to vote. Like the actual.
Hear people chuckling in the audience.
But Chris, land is not people. You're right.
Soil of Wyoming, the acreage of South Dakota, the square plots of the vast expanse of Utah, they get votes because they are land. It's weird when you think about it.
No, it's not.
It's not really.
Yeah.
Cockhaze.
Oh, man. It's not weird because, so take our little neck of the woods, for example. You go outside of town and pick any farm field or whatever.
And
There's
ask
a
it who
whole
it's gonna
bunch of
vote
land space and then one little farmstead or something
Yeah.
in the middle of the section, if even that much anymore. And, there's lots of geographical area, not a lot of people. But is that person's interest out on the farm going to be exactly the same as yours on 14th Street
Yeah.
in town? Probably not.
Right.
Just by virtue of where you live and what you do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
The Democratic Party used to be about the working man, by the way, and used to be very pro-labor. Now it's all about, well, we've talked about what it's about,
But that's the way it works. And that's why you get these maps. And that's why the president likes these maps. He thinks it shows how much America loves him.
Kind of.
Yeah.
In reality, this is a map of a minority of the country.
Not true. No.
There are-
Look, Hillary's biggest supporters are in pockets scattered around the country. Trump's supporters are scattered like in this big covering. Like, you get pockets of Hillary.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I mean, maybe it is. Yeah, it's 50, but should 49% automatically have to listen to 51% just because?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
Maybe. Maybe not.
There are way, way, way more people in the blue areas than in the red areas, right?
Yes.
In this map, this exact
Right.
map, right? Hillary Clinton
Right.
got 3 million more votes than Donald Trump.
So, like, what is that? The population of Des Moines or something?
Yeah.
Difference?
Yeah, right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, out of 350 million,
Sure.
something in the country.
What percentage is that? You know.
That's not much difference.
And also, we've got to decide on one way of doing it or the other.
Mhm.
It's either going to be this or one person, one vote, or something else. But it's not going to be, I guess, totally fair regardless of what we do. We just kind of have to pick the best one.
Well, I don't want to belabor the point too much, but there is one person, one vote in, yeah, like he says, all but maybe a handful of context here, but the office of presidency is just one sliver
Sure.
of the government.
Yeah.
And if it's that big of a deal, maybe make the office a little bit less powerful.
And if he's implying that we're a pure democracy, we're obviously not.
Mhm.
We're a republic. In a pure democracy, yes, every person has one vote. Literally, just it's that simple.
And then you get the
king.
The Convention of Socialists video,
DSA.
right? Pure democracy, word, right?
Yep, that's what it looks like. Have fun.
Point of personal privilege. So, using gendered language.
That is what protecting the Electoral College has become all about. It's about the fact that one of the major political coalitions in American life doesn't want Americans, a majority of them, to run the country because they fear, they know, they suspect deep down that they are in the minority.
Maybe it's because you folks know that you can't win unless you change the rules.
And aren't resonating with most of America. Your gendered pronouns don't resonate with most people. They don't care. And no amount of calling them racist or transphobic or homophobic or misogynistic
It's going to make a difference.
will make them care. It'll make them push back that much harder.
No doubt.
They're digging themselves their own grave.
Well, I mean, this whole SJW rhetoric converted I would say I was a pretty, I wouldn't say far left voter, but I would say center left last go around. And now, I mean, I'm right on most issues. There's still a couple things that
I think that's happened to a lot of moderate people.
I was there too.
Because,
Case in point.
yeah, I think the Democratic Party generally has moved so far left that even people in the center seem way to the right to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Full-term abortions. I mean, this stuff does not resonate with people. I don't know what they think they're doing.
Well, it resonates with people in their circle, like the LA and the San Francisco, but
and the Twitter sphere.
Maybe
Twitter
they're just
sphere,
an echo
yeah.
chamber, and they just think that they just surround
bubble.
themselves with people that agree with them, and they like. If you go to LA or something and say I'm a Trump supporter, people are not going to believe that you like exist, because that's just all they surround themselves with is their own line of thinking.
Yeah. Well, I think this guy's little aria here is sort of illustrative on what this quote unquote city folk elite think about, over here in Missouri or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
They think it's just bumpkin, racist
hayseeds.
Hayseed people. That's like one guy out on a farm
Yep.
somewhere. And why should all of these people in Baltimore have to pay attention to
Right.
two people in Missouri?
They're educated. They're smart. They know what's best.
Yeah. It's amazing how fast of a transformation that this happened to, especially with people my age. Like I can remember on election night, I'd throw it out there, I voted left on election night, and I'm looking at the results and I'm like, oh crap, and then 2 years later, God, it's only been 3 years.
Yeah, I remember texting you on election
Yeah.
night. Yeah, you're just kind of like, oh man, what now?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen now? And I'm like, well, okay, if Trump goes totally crazy, they'll remove him from office.
Yeah,
I mean, there's lots of checks in place to.
And here we are 4 years later, and I'm going to vote for him.
I mean,
it's amazing.
The economy is humming.
And it's all the Democrats' fault. It
Yes.
really wasn't
They dug their own
Trump.
grave.
It really wasn't Trump that made me vote for him again. It was the
Right.
Democrats who made me not vote
their
for him.
That's a good way to put
inability
it.
Yeah.
to sell themselves to you.
Yep.
Interesting.
And I wonder if it's, I'm sure it will, but I wonder under what circumstances it's going to swing back in the other direction, because that's what happens. It goes back and
Right.
forth. We had how many, the Bushes and whatnot, and then it went the other way, and then it came back, and then it was cool to be liberal. Now it's cool to be conservative.
Yeah.
I wonder when it's going to go back.
Yeah. It's so backwards to the way it was like when I was
Yes.
high school, college.
Yes.
Because the counterculture thing was, being like an atheist. And
Yeah,
being,
exactly.
pro-abortion and
Yep.
whatever else kind of. And
Hating on
now,
Christians.
Yeah. Now it's it's totally the opposite.
Yep. When that stuff becomes the mainstream, then the other side has to push back.
Like Ward Cleaver or Beaver Cleaver or something like that is.
Mayberry.
They're like.
Nuclear family
akin
is
to Sid Vicious from
Right.
the punk band or something.
so weird.
It is, yeah.
And it's fascinating to see it all just kind of play out and just kind of be along for the ride.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's going to look like when Lils or Hudson
yeah.
are older. And
Makes me nervous.
a little bit, because I don't know where else we have to go.
Mhm.
I look at music this way too. When where we're at with the current music scene with like mumble rap, which is just total apathy and lack of any kind of
Well, the music
energy.
doesn't have any balls.
Yeah.
Or think country, like 10 years ago or maybe even 15, we turn on country radio, and now it's just pop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, like you said, the music doesn't have any
heart, no energy.
Yeah. When I think of rap, it's like Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, 50 Cent,
Yeah.
And now it's like Lil Pump.
Stuff that had some edge to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music has like lost its
Passion.
edge.
There's no passion.
Yeah.
It's just processed, cheapened garbage.
Maroon 5.
Ugh.
Little Uzi Vert.
Lil Uzi Vert, yeah.
I hate
Triple X
Maroon 5.
Tentacion. Yeah,
Oh.
I hate Maroon 5 too.
Yes.
They don't. All their music sounds the same, and it's
Yeah.
yeah. It's just radio play.
Ugh.
If we're looking for something to go out on, you should pull up Nickelback versus Rooster. They play a rooster next to.
Is there any risk of a copyright
That's true.
thing? We've been.
Yeah, we.
Speaking of that, I've had so much trouble. That was
Really?
on the Spurge wanted to hear like some rap song from the Space Jam soundtrack
Yeah.
or something last time, and I knew we were like gonna be pushing the envelope a little bit. So I tried to, because I thought maybe the thing only was like an amount of time. It like maybe we wouldn't recognize it if you
Oh,
only
yeah.
played a few
Yeah.
seconds, but it seems to catch everything.
How come we can watch videos like this and not?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I have no
Copyrighted.
idea.
Yeah.
I'm completely perplexed about how they can catch it so fast.
Maybe because we're commenting on it and it's fair use.
Oh, okay.
You can comment on
It should be
movies.
fair use regardless.
Sure.
But
you seem to think that it was because we were streaming it live that it was the problem.
yeah, and then I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. If it's just a stream thing, because I recorded at the same time, I was like, well, screw you, YouTube. We'll just upload it. And as soon as I had it uploaded, it was that re-upload was copyrighted. Yeah, so what's
The algos are kicking our butts.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd heard about a big crackdown on YouTube on the copyrighted stuff, so with music at least. So
it's one thing that the algos do well, or AI is doing really well, is catching our copyright infringement. And they're on that.
Yeah, is that? I mean, now that there's an announcement out, Vin.
Yeah.
Maybe we could close with that.
Yeah,
sure. TED Talk on November 22nd. I was picked and we're knee deep in preparation. So
okay.
It's
how's the prep going?
It's good. We actually are setting up a blog. All the speakers have to do like 3 blog posts. I'll be sharing that link sometime soon. And the various dinners and meetings and events we have to go to get ready for this thing. But it's like
cool.
I'm used to giving 2-hour lectures 3 times a day, and now it's like 15 minutes all condensed down into this one scripted talk, and that's really different than what I'm used to doing.
Yeah, there's probably no room to kind of freewheel it.
No freewheeling, no riffing, no nothing.
Every line has to be like concise, and that'd be tough.
So do all the presenters go in one day?
Yeah,
one night.
They're all in one. It's basically like a 9 to 5 event, and
what is it, Saturday?
It's a Friday, and there's only 100 seats, unfortunately.
I was going to try and get to that.
Yeah, I was looking forward to inviting as many people as I could, but then I found out it's only 100 seats, so it's going to be first come, first serve, but try to get as many people as we can. I think it'll fill up pretty quickly.
Huh. Are they charging admission?
Yeah, I'm sure. Because it's all volunteer based, so we're not getting paid anything to do it.
Will it be recorded at least so we can watch your...
Yep. We'll be up on the TEDx YouTube page.
Nice.
Cool. Well, that'll be fun.
It's kind of a fun way to go out on teaching, because I just accepted a new job as well. So this will be my last semester at Iowa Lakes, and my TED Talk is like my way out of teaching.
Yeah.
It's like the climax.
Finale.
Yeah, the finale. There you go.
Throw up the middle finger as you leave the stage and
Mic
simultaneously drop the mic. Yeah.
I'm out. Go make some money. In
Cool.
The private sector.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
All right, fellers. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Again.
Thank you all. Happy September.
Good episode, I would say.
Good show.